Hello, in this video we're going to discuss immortality, part 1. So in particular we're looking at heaven's kind and humankind. So the soul has a decay, it has a half-life, and its life expectancy is through soul decay, if there's no support, lasts only 3 trillion years, and then that's it. So what happens is the soul shrinks, right? This is without body. It shrinks, and then when it gets really small, it just falls apart. So angels have died this way. That's what I'll point out. So that's how we know. And the first angel created, his name was Batch, he died that way. He's alive today. He was rescued after time travel was discovered in heaven. In the first history, a team went back in time and rescued him. And other angels, including an angel called Angel, who also died the same way, through soul decay. So the soul and the body combined is called a chassis. And the complete loss of a chassis can happen through soul decay, and it can happen through violence. So the soul is in fact fragile. It is very, very light. It is 0.005 of a gram. So it's very easy to destroy by accident. So that's why the souls of humankind aren't in fact on earth at all. So we'll get to that later. Effectively, the soul and body are in another dimension, in a stasis chamber, and it is telepathically connected through wormhole telepathy to the body on earth. So if you want to know if you've relived your life, you have. There's been multiple histories, and you've walked on earth in each of those histories, lived a different life. Alright, and so in between histories, you're in the stasis chamber. During history, you get to come to earth, and the Holy Spirit connects you through wormhole telepathy to the new body inside the womb, to the body of a baby that is just born. And that's how that works. And the type of chassis of the baby is designed to be non-sentient and controlled. So then the baby grows and becomes an adult, and it's controlled by you. It is in fact a chassis. Right, so survival for God in the first history, before God created planets to live on, he was surviving solely on mana and water and ice. So these are emitted through wormhole emission that's influenced by gravity. So wormhole element influenced by gravity from God's hands could produce a black ball, which is a wormhole that emits mana and water and ice and other materials, which is how God created everything. Mana, as we mentioned earlier, is a type of biscuit that is similar in shape and form to the host that we have at communion at Roman Catholic churches. And when God tried to create water, inside the chamber that he was surviving in, it always came out as ice. So he'd always be munching on ice and mana. And that's how he survived for 14 trillion years until he had a planet. And then when he created a planet, it was a further 450 billion years it was 50 billion years until God created barley, which could be made into a biscuit, which could be consumed. And then it was 400 billion years after that before cooked meat was discovered. So what it does, mana, restores the cells in the body and the soul. So that's why a soul chassis can survive for so long. In God's case, whenever he died, he would go back into his chamber and activate a wormhole that would emit a material that would refill his soul with a new body. So his way of doing things was, as mentioned in an earlier video, he was created inside a chamber that was inside an asteroid that consisted of wormhole element. And he could refill his soul with a new body by touching the side. And what he had to do was die of asphyxiation and then go outside in soul form into zero gravity, vacuum, and work with wormhole element and gravity element in order to create stars and planets in a furnace and moons. So that's how God survived. In heaven on this day, the living artificial intelligence that is the Holy Spirit, restores cells in presence of time to the youth. So that's why people look younger in heaven. That is one of the reasons why. In the first history, before the Holy Spirit was created, people aged, but then due to mana, their bodies would remain at a constant state of looking like they were 30 years old. Unless there was an absence of mana and they lived at a part of heaven where there was no mana, then they would age and become old. Alright, so the other way is through DNA and soul DNA code. And so that's another way to restore cells in a body, is through that. It's a similar process to what the Holy Spirit uses. The oldest chassis, soul and body combined, is 721 trillion years. It is in fact an angel from the Gabriel batch. And that man has never died. So that's living in the same body. In heaven, people live a normal life. They do things like sport, recreation, entertainment. There are jobs there, science, all sorts. So people are always busy doing stuff. And that's how people live a long time. It is not a problem for anyone. No one becomes bored. If they become bored, they go and find something to do. Simple as that. It's never a problem. So that's immortality. I'm the Archangel Daniel, and I'm from heaven.